Hello again, and welcome to video number 3 in my 2019 movie series hobby fun time thing. So far I've done my movies that I'm really looking forward to for next year, 2020, and I've also done my least favorite movies of 2019. But now we are going to get into my favorite movie aspects of this year, starting with this video. This will be my favorite supporting actor and supporting actress roles in 2019. Now, just like every other video that I'm doing, just like every other video that anybody does on this type of subject, this is completely subjective. This is not my list of who I think should get Oscar or Golden Globe nominations. This is just whether it's a role that was captivating, whether it was somebody that just stole every scene they were in. And in one instance that I'll get to in a little bit, it could be a movie or a couple movies that were okay. Not great movies, but I came out of the theater remembering, and even to this day, remembering this person's performance and the fact that they were so either funny, so enthralling, they made me remember them, which put them on this list. Um, and what I'm going to be doing too for both the supporting roles and the lead roles that I'll do in the next video, I've pointed out one male and one female. I'm not going to tell you if they're both in these videos, if they're both in the second video, if one's in this one, one's in the other, but one male and one female actor that may be not as well known as most of the others on this list, but one that I think, based on the performance that I saw, is one to really watch out for in the future. So, without delaying any longer, here are my picks or my choices, my preferences for the best supporting role performances of 2019. And first, I'm going to apologize for the little camera shake earlier. Uh, this is not a professional set. This is in my home, so I kicked the table. So if the camera kind of shook, my apologies. So I'm going to do some honorable mentions first. Supporting actress. There was a couple movies that and this movie I'll start out with as a whole and as a January movie. Traditionally, January movies are not great, but January movies, as far as they go, this was okay. It was Escape Room, and there's a supporting actress in there. And I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Deborah Ann Woll. Woll. You may also know her from the, I guess, formerly Netflix, currently Disney Plus, maybe formerly Disney Plus soon, series Daredevil. She plays the office assistant to Matt Murdock in the Daredevil series. She, in this movie, plays an Army veteran who kind of takes a motherly role to the younger kids in this death escape room movie. As a movie itself, it was okay. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, but Deborah Ann Woll really kind of stood out for me. And the other honorable mention I'm going to give to Dakota Johnson for the Peanut Butter Falcon. She is a caretaker for one of the two main actors, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Zach Gottschalk. I'm probably horribly mispronouncing that, but she plays a caretaker in a nursing home, and once Zach does what he needs to do to leave the nursing home, she goes on a mission to find him and meets up with him and Shia LaBeouf later in the film. And just an endearing role. You can tell that she really cares about the young man that she's supposed to be caring after. And those two, I really just liked those endearing type of roles for Deborah and for Dakota. The supporting actor, uh, there's two of them. One that you will know very well. One that you, by name, will probably have never heard of. So the one that you know is Joe Pesci from The Irishman. This movie, if you have sat through the 3.5 hours that is The Irishman, it can be a long movie, but at least throughout the entirety of the movie, it's gripping. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an entertaining movie, but it certainly gets your attention, and Joe Pesci is a major part of that. He plays a mobster that is a completely different type of mobster that he played in Goodfellas. He was brash, he was abrasive in Goodfellas, and this one he really is just calm, cool, collected, but you know there's an air of danger about him, and you know that he is both highly respected in this community that they've built for this movie, and also incredibly dangerous and terrifying. And so Joe Pesci played that perfectly, so for that he is an honorable mention for me. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be pointing out one male, one female, and they're going to be kind of my ones to watch for the future. And that is my other honorable mention for supporting actor. His name is Evan Alex. He was the young boy in the family of four in the movie, the horror thriller movie Us. He has to play both a kind of a aloof young boy in the normal family, and then has to turn, just like every other member of this family, he has to kind of turn into this deranged, just crazy version of himself as a normal kid. And there are scenes where he has to be both innocent in one role and menacing and spooky and terrifying in the crazy family, and he pulls both off really well. And young kid actors more often than not have a tendency of not being the greatest actors in the world. But after seeing Us, I am very excited to see what Evan Alex does in the future. And to be honest, I haven't looked to see. He didn't look familiar when I saw the movie. I haven't looked to see if he's been in anything else, but I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. So with that, I'm going to go into my top five for supporting actor first. So my number five supporting actor role of the year is probably the nicest guy in Hollywood, playing one of the nicest men to ever walk the planet, and that is Tom Hanks, playing Fred or Mr. Rogers in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This was a very endearing, very adorable movie, and going into it, I thought this was going to be Tom Hanks's movie because everywhere you went, everything I read said it was the Mr. Rogers movie. And so, because of that, I thought, okay, Tom Hanks is going to be at the forefront. He is absolutely in a supporting role, but plays it so well. You, for as you know, Mr. Rogers' dialogue. When he spoke, whether it was on the show or in interviews, when he was around, he spoke slowly, but at the same time, you were so invested in what he said, and he really just gets your attention, and you held on to every word that he says, and he plays it beautifully. On the flip side of that, my number four supporting actor role of the year is John Lithgow in Bombshell. John Lithgow plays Roger Ailes, the former Fox News creator executive who the movie is surrounding the events of him being accused of sexual misconduct. So, what your political leanings are aside, John Lithgow has a track record of being able to play people that are supposed to be despicable and play them incredibly well, and this is no exception. John Lithgow does what he needs to do. There are certain points where he actually is gaining sympathy, and even other characters in the movie are saying, I like this person, and I don't want to believe these things that are being said about Roger Ailes. And John Lithgow, he has such a commanding presence in general, but really as Roger Ailes does such an incredible job with this role. I would absolutely, I'd be okay actually with this role, him being nominated for awards, because I think it'd be deserved. My number three supporting actor role or favorite supporting actor is one that will almost certainly not get nominated for any awards. But it's one that in a movie that I knew I was going just for the experience, and I knew I was gonna, well, I hopefully knew I was gonna love the movie. Coming out of it, really loving Chris Hemsworth as Fat Thor or Bro Thor from Avengers Endgame. Uh, he he was hilarious at every scene he was in. He There's a couple moments of true sincerity. I won't get into it just in case you're one of the 4 people that have yet to see Avengers Endgame. Uh, I in a movie that is supposed to be all action and superhero like, and I know Marvel throws in some comedy bits every now and again in their movies anymore, but Chris Hemsworth, man, he it was obvious he had fun in that role, just wearing that fat suit and being the opposite of what we've come to know Thor as. Just he knocked it out of the park. Going kind of on my seesaw where it's nice and cute to intense, nice and funny and cute now with Chris Hemsworth, going to the number 2 supporting, or my favorite supporting actor of the year, Sam Rockwell and Richard Jewell. So Richard Jewell is the movie about the man from the Atlanta Olympics, the security guard uh, who saw the bomb and alerted, basically became a hero, and he became ostracized. Sam Rockwell plays his attorney, and in a movie that the title is Richard Jewell, so the focal point is Richard Jewell. Um, there are so many scenes where Sam Rockwell is in the background. He is clearly not the focal point of this movie, but whether it be a comment, whether it be a facial expression, he absolutely becomes the focal point in a lot of scenes he's in, just because he's a dynamic actor, but his comedic timing, his dramatic timing, I mean, he is a great friend, lawyer, and just advocate for this hero turned villain, or perceived villain, Richard Jewell. So Sam Rockwell, I loved him, but not as much as, and this will be a weird number 1 choice, but there is rarely a movie that somebody can literally steal every scene they're in my opinion, in a supporting role, and that was Adam Brody in Ready or Not. Adam Brody plays the brother to the main actor, the groom, in this very eccentric gaming family, and not gaming as in board games, but gaming as in hunting wild game family. And there has to be moments where he is conflicted because they're playing a dangerous game of murder hide and seek, but there also has to be scenes where he turns into the alcoholic comedic comedy relief brother, and he does both of those really well. And he, for somebody that I knew only from the TV show The OC, and then earlier from his role in Shazam, very very bit part in Shazam, I thought Adam Brody killed it. I loved him in Ready or Not. He was my absolute favorite supporting actor of 2019. For supporting actress, my top 5 for supporting actress, I will say 3 through 5. I guess number one of the 3 through 5 could get award nominations. The other 2 are just ones, like Chris Hemsworth, like Adam Brody, that I really liked. Numbers 1 and 2, I do expect to get some Oscar nominations. Number 5 for supporting actress for me is Anne Hathaway in the movie Dark Waters. So I did not remember the story of the DuPont scandal before seeing this movie. Anne Hathaway plays the wife of Mark Ruffalo, who is the former oil company lawyer turned, I guess, lawyer that is fighting these companies, or not oil company, but um, these plant type of businesses that he used to fight for. Now he's fighting against. Anne Hathaway plays the wife who is experiencing her husband just go into this obsession on this case and turning into a very disgruntled wife, and she is supposed to be conflicted. She loves her husband, but she's tired of all the time that he spends away from her and away from the family. And there's some very emotional, poignant scenes that she does really well. So she's my number 5 for the year. Number 4 is one that I could see being nominated for awards, and that is Laura Dern in the movie Marriage Story. Marriage Story it stars Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, and they're going through a divorce. And Laura Dern plays Scarlett Johansson's lawyer in this. And there's one scene in particular where Laura Dern goes from somebody that is really, knows that she wants to convey that she cares, and she wants to really show that, I'm doing this because I'm a family person. I care about you. I care about your family. And with a couple lines, she goes from that to just really turning on Adam Driver's character and wanting to nail him and basically ruin his life. And somebody that can turn that quickly and do that really well and doesn't make it seem jarring, kudos to Laura Dern. So she's my number 4 favorite supporting role of the year. Number 3 is going to be completely out of left field, kind of like Adam Brody for me. And this is one that I hope I pronounce her name correctly. It's Zoe. I'm going to say it's Zoe Deutsch from Zombieland Double Tap. As a movie, Zombieland was okay. Not great, okay. Zoe Deutsch plays the new, very ditzy blonde Madison that joins the core group of 4. And I will say the first line or two that she does, it's in the trailer, and part of me was worried that that was going to get overplayed. The ditziness, the not understanding, just, being kind of out of her element. But she was hilarious. I found myself just laughing hysterically in a movie that was okay, and I realized that she is the reason that I was laughing. It was because of comments she made, things she did. She made this movie so much better for me because she was in it, and anybody that can do that deserves a spot on this list for me personally. Number 2 is one that I do expect to get an Oscar nomination. Maybe not for this movie, but in general an Oscar nomination, and that's Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit is about a young boy named Jojo Rabbit, who is a young boy that is wanting to and participates in a Nazi kids camp, basically a summer camp. And Scarlett Johansson plays the mother of Jojo Rabbit. And it's a kind of a stereotypical role where somebody has to be both funny, very serious, very dramatic, the loving mother to a conflicted kid at times. And Scarlett Johansson is just, she's a great actress. I thought she did really well in this movie. There is a certain scene as well where her and JoJo are laughing through the streets of their town, and then they see a scene, because it is in Nazi Germany, they see a scene that very quickly turns this from comedy to drama. And she flips that switch without even batting an eye. And so she hits number 2 for me. But one that, if I was an Oscar voter, granted, I've not seen every movie, not even close to every movie that's even considered Oscar worthy, I would give the supporting actress all of the awards to Kathy Bates for her role in Richard Jewell. Kathy Bates plays the mother to Richard Jewell, and imagine if you are a parent that your child is going through for a couple days of being basically the world hero and saving so many lives, And then on a dime, not only does the government, but also the media just take a turn and just ostracize and villainize your child. And anybody that has seen anything Kathy Bates does knows that she is one hell of an actress. But there is one scene, especially in this movie, and sometimes one scene can make a role. She is giving a press conference and basically pleading to the media, pleading to the government, pleading to the American people, the world, uh, that her son is innocent. And it is an incredibly emotional, heart wrenching press conference. It is. I'll be honest. I really had to hold back tears when I was watching this one scene, and throughout the rest of the movie, she's great. She really is great. But that one scene, that made that role for me, and that just propelled her right away to my favorite supporting actress role of the year. Uh, so with that, I will go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate anybody that does stumble upon these and you like what you see. Um, but yeah, that is my choices, my preferences, what I liked in terms of supporting actors and actresses for 2019. And I'll be back in about a day or two to do my favorite lead actor and actresses of 2019.